Hey, what's up? It's Josh from the Dialed In Hunter. I've got another gear review for you. This is going to be on the First Lite Nemo Recurve two-person tent. So if you didn't see earlier in the year, First Lite Nemo released this whole collection of backcountry gear. Really cool. They got like a couple different shelters, sleeping bags, sleeping pads, and some other stuff. And I've been a supporter of both of those companies for years. So when I saw that they were going to come together and release some stuff together, some collaboration gear, I was really excited. So the Recurve, just a little bit of a breakdown on it. The Recurve is, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's either the lightest two-person shelter available on the market or dang near close to it. It's coming in at 1 pound 11 ounces. It sets up with 6 stakes, 1 in each corner and then 1 for each vestibule. 2 doors, 1 on each side. It's side entry, which is something that I always appreciate. Front entry, I'm not completely against it. I have shelters that I enter in from the front, but side entry seems to be a lot easier just for convenience wise. You don't have to do like this crab walk thing into the shelter or like dive forward or something like that. Let me see, on top of that, it's got, so it sets up with a T-bar type of system, okay? It's just there's one pole in the center, which attaches to this little clip that goes from vestibule to vestibule, and that's like the ridge of your tent, okay? So this is more of an A-frame design. It's not a traditional dual wall kind of backcountry shelter design, much like if you were to look at the Nemo Hornet two-person, that's kind of like a more of a dome style side entry dual vestibule type of tent. Really great tent. It's one of my favorite shelters out there. This one's a little bit different. It's like it's a unique design. It's got on all 4 corners, it's got these poles, super lightweight. You don't have to attach them. They're already attached to the shelter. Okay, so these poles are attached to the shelter, and then there's cord that attaches from that pole, and then that's where you put your stake. So if you look at the photos, each corner, those poles bring the tent up and kind of give you more room on the inside of the shelter. Okay, so traditionally, like say like this right here is the bottom of your shelter, right? So traditionally on the corner of a tent, it would look like that on the inside, right? Well, with this one, it's square, which to me, I really found that great because I was able to put my feet there or in my head, and the tent wasn't laying on my head or my feet throughout the night. So just a little more room, pretty cool for convenience and livability. That's the other thing, livability with this tent. It's got a lot of room in it. It's a 2-person. I was slightly concerned with the pole in the center. I had never slept with a shelter that had a pole inside of it before. But after sleeping in it, I had it on a 6-day backpack hunt in Colorado. And after sleeping in it for a few nights, getting used to it, I didn't really feel that the pole was in my way. I was never wishing that it wasn't there. But it is like right where you want to be. Like that is that. So one of the downfalls for me, it's not really a downfall. It's just kind of personal preference. Like where that pole is in the center of that shelter is right where you would want to be laying if it was just you in the tent. Now with 2 people, the pole works just fine because each of you are going to be on either side of the pole. How I ran it though was I slept on one side of the pole, and I actually put my backpack on the other side of it inside the shelter, which is something I've never really been able to do in the past with previous shelters. Usually the insides of those has enough room for me and maybe my camera or something, some other little, like a book just laying around me. I really liked that. Now the reason that I did that was because the vestibule on the Recurve is not as big as I would like it to be, I guess. So I was slightly concerned with rain, possibly getting my backpack wet and stuff. So that's why I put it on the inside of the tent. It might have been fine. I just didn't want to take a chance with it. I think that the vestibule, man, I would really like to see, like, maybe in a future design or something, if the vestibule would come down a little farther to the ground, and just be a little bit bigger overall. The only thing I kept in there was my bow and like my binoculars and stuff through the night. Everything else was on the inside of the shelter with me, which worked out fine. Condensation wise, this is a single wall design. However, because of how much ventilation you're getting with, and maybe that's why the vestibule is set up the way it is, a little higher, with how much ventilation you're getting through both doors, the cross flow that you're getting of wind, I really didn't have any condensation at all in there. The one night that I did have a little bit, it rained the night before that, or I'm sorry, it rained the evening before that. So like it rained and then we went to sleep. So the next morning there was a little bit. I think that was just because of the humidity, right? So let me see, other than that, so here, let me show it to you. This is it all packed up, okay? So everything is in here. The shelter, the pole, the one pole, the stakes, and I also have the footprint in here. I always get a footprint with all of these. It doesn't matter what brand it is. I always get a footprint for these backcountry shelters, just because a lot of the material is so lightweight, and I mean, you feel like you're gonna break it. Down here in Arizona, it's super rocky, and I don't know. These things are pricey, you know what I mean? I don't want to just freaking be like putting holes in the bottom of my tent because I didn't put a footprint on the bottom of it, whether that's Tyvek or like this has a custom footprint for it. Whatever it is, I would put something under there if you're in like more rocky terrain. If you're in just like dirt and stuff, like, I mean, teach their own, I guess. I always bring the footprint with me though. So really stoked on this shelter. That, I mean, aside from the few downfalls, which I think can be things that can be improved on in the future, it's a great shelter. I wouldn't take it on late season hunts where there's going to be snow. This shelter is really going to shine during the early season. I feel like with the design, it will, if a lot of snow got on it, I feel like it would tend to sag or collapse. But other than snow, I had it in pretty dang good wind, rain, and hail, and it did fine. There was no holes or anything from hail or any rips from the wind or anything like that. No water got in from the rain. It held up pretty good, which is due to this thing. You really gotta get this thing set up right. So because of the unique design with the corners, okay, and how those cords come off of there with the poles, you really got to get that, like, play with that to get it right when you put it up, just so everything's nice and taut. If it's not nice and tight like that, it might sag a little bit in areas. It's an easy fix. You just got to go and, you know, retighten some stuff. But if that's like that, I think it's going to be totally fine. Just my opinion. It did great for me. Another thing with this shelter, it takes up quite a bit of real estate once you set it up, because of this new four corner design with the carbon struts there. The cords come out quite a bit. So this isn't going to be a shelter, I think, that you could like put in a deer bed or something like that. And if you're in super steep country, if you're doing something like that, I would bring maybe the Nemo spike if you wanted to like keep it in the Nemo family. or more of a bivy style type of thing. This I knew where I was going. I knew there was going to be lots of flat spots for me to set this up, and it worked out just fine. Fits in the pack great, doesn't take up a bunch of room, and you heard the weight, 1 pound 11 ounces. Pretty freaking awesome. So I'll put a link down below. I also have a written review of this shelter, and I'll put any links down there so you guys can check the stuff out. So until next time, thanks for watching. It's hunting season right now. I'm sure all of you have been out and about. At least I hope you have. So if you have, I hope you filled some tags. If not, and you're gonna go out, best of luck to you. And until next time, thanks for watching.